Welcome back to Last Request Barbecue, the station, the YouTube channel where we make food. I make food on the barbecue that you'd want as your last request meal. Today, Smokey Bespoke mac and cheese. It's a delicious meal. The antecedent or the idea is certainly the recipe from Jamie Oliver, but I make a bunch of twists and changes to it. It features everything that you could imagine. Of course, you've got some amazing pasta. We're going to be adding into that onions. We're going to have oat milk. We're going to have, that's right, mango chutney. We're going to put pancetta in it. There's going to be some bacon on top. There's going to be some breadcrumbs. There's going to be some of my South Carolina mustard. Check the recipe out. Please subscribe, by the way. Check that subscribe button. I don't know which way I'm pointing. Please smash that subscribe button so you don't miss any episodes. And we're going to top it all off, include what's a mac and cheese without a lot of cheese. From my friends at Lactalis and Cheeseworld, they sent me this all new product, which I'm loving. We're going to give it a try. I'm loving the concept. Smoked, aged, medium, expertly blended cheese. Perfect, because usually I'd have to kind of grind it all out, but this is going to be perfect, I think, for this recipe, because it's also going to go and finish itself onto the Yoder smokers. So let's get started. Okay, first things first, we are going to cut up our onions. So that is the base. We're going to put some onions. We're going to add a big tab of butter in, and we're going to just give these 15, 20, 25 minutes to caramelize, kick it up a notch, some caramelized, what's left of this bottle, right into the onions. But let's get cutting. Now, some of you may have picked up, this is now, we're now into November, so the barbecue is set up for late fall / winter cooking. I've got my beautiful heat source set up here on the deck, including, of course, to get some heat from the Crown Verity, of course. So I've got lots of heat coming in, and we're all set to cook, and then we've got some lights that we're going to use, because, of course, not only does it get a little colder, but it also gets a whole lot darker. So here I'm mixing Spanish onions. I mean, in a perfect world, you've just got sweet onions, but any onions that you've got will do. This is the kind of recipe where it's a good clear out if you've got some onions that perhaps have seen better days, but are still very good, as many continue to be. This is a good recipe to blow them out. By the way, if you're interested in learning more about food, how food grocers and how the grocers work and how the industry works, tune into my podcast with Dr. Sylvain Charlebois, the food professor. So we have a podcast, the Food Professor Podcast. We also have a channel on YouTube, the Food Professor. And we talk about trends in the food, grocery, restaurant industry. And we have a fun segment called Trying Stuff, where brands are sending us stuff and we're trying them, which is just a pile of fun. All right, looks like a mess of onions for sure, but by the time they caramelize, you'll see they get down to about the right size. Right now I'm cooking for about 4 people. And we're on to our next step. We're going to melt our tab of butter, and we're just going to wait for that to warm up, and then we're going to add our onions. Push that to the back where it's in the Crown Verity, as I've often said, hotter at the back than the front on purpose, so that you can moderate your heat both to the side and to the front. By the way, I'm enjoying a nice French Grenache Syria wine, Bastide Mirefleur. Delicious wine, got from the LCBO, check that out. Nice full-bodied Syrah that is going to go so well with our mac and cheese tonight. All right, so the butter is melted, so let's get our onions in. Now let's mix those up. Get the butter all over these. Oops, man overboard. That happens every now and then, right? All right, we're making progress here. We are now at a point, we're nowhere near being finished, but we're now at the point where these onions have softened up, and as Chef Roy Choi would say, we're ready for the love. So I'm going to put in a bit of salt and pepper here. This is a nice, handy thing. I don't know why I didn't do this. This is Emmett's idea. My executive chef mix salt and pepper into one shaker because you always add them in anyway. So there's a bit of S&P in here, as sometimes referred. And then I'm going to add this carne asada seasoning, 8-second ride, which is going to add a kick. I don't know, let's say a generous tablespoon. And this is, of course, the bottom of the bottle, which means it's going to be pretty intense. I'm going to load that all in, and it's going to give us a nice spice. I'll have to reload on the carne asada, and let's mix that in. There we go. Now that's going to make it look like it's more done than it is. So just be careful of that. And if it starts to dry out, add a squirt or two of avocado oil. At the end of the day, I'm going to be putting in some flour to make kind of like a roux and a sauce before I add the oat beverage to it. So I'm not so worried about that, but something to keep an eye on as you're cooking. We're going to put some pancetta into the pan and that up a little bit of avocado oil just to get it started. Let's throw this pancetta in here. I do like the diced pancetta. I guess that's a theme for today. We're using pre-diced pancetta, and we're using pre-sliced Cracker Barrel cheese. It's new to the market. We've got our water on the boil. Now for the pasta, I like this tubetti pasta, the curato from Longo's. You only cook it halfway. So this calls for 9 to 10 minutes, 5 minutes max, because what happens is you cook it for 5 minutes, and then in it goes, and it absorbs the flavors as the cook finishes for the half hour on the Yoder smoker. So we'll get to that in a little bit. All right, check that out. These are ready. So our next step is to put a little bit of flour in there, which will help make our sauce. That was about half a cup. So we mix that up, let that dry it out. There we go. From here, we put a liter. Now you can add milk. I'm adding oat. It's a liter. Now whether it's a liter of oat or a liter of milk, up to you. Oat is more what I like. My wife is a bit lactose intolerant, so this actually helps. Of course, we're putting a pile of cheese in here. But you know, just kind of the entourage effect. I'll slowly put this in and let it all get absorbed up. You can kind of see it disappear into the onions. That's your time to add a bit more oat beverage. Pancetta is ready. Just pile it up there, and we'll move it a little bit over here so that takes it off the heat but keeps it warm. All right, continue to absorb our flavors. So that's 1 full liter of whatever, milk, oat, whatever you like. Here's some other things to go in. A little bit of Worcestershire sauce. I like to mumble when I say Worcestershire sauce. But anyway, a couple of jabs of the Worcestershire sauce. There we go. We're going to put some of my South Carolina mustard, so check out the Cubanos, because that's where you'll find the recipe for the South Carolina mustard sauce. So we'll put in just a good spoonful, call that a tablespoon, a little bit more. Oops, there we go. And now the piece de resistance, we're actually going to put in mango chutney. And again, thanks to Jamie Oliver, this is a Jamie Oliver recipe. About a good tablespoon or more, if you like it a little sweeter. There we go. We mix that all together. Let that continue to simmer. Let's put our cubes of pancetta into our mix. All right, and that's our alarm going off, telling us our pasta is done. At least half done, actually, to be precise, right? Because we're only cooking the pasta halfway. And it's looking nice and creamy. And let's move off the direct heat, a little bit of heat in the front, but not much heat. Because now we're going to add the cheese. And I'm excited about this cheese. As I said, check that Cracker Barrel. I grew up with Cracker Barrel. It's funny to see it now. I grew up with it watching Bugs Bunny. Signature, so it's new, expertly blended, smoked, aged, medium. So what a perfect cheese blend to go into this, because I'm going to then smoke it a bit more. Smoky. Oh my goodness, this is going to be great. So let's put that in. Entire bag. We want it cheesy. Actually, we're going to save a little bit. Hold a little bit back, because we're going to want to put it on top. So let's melt that cheese in. Oh, this is going to be good. Now, our pasta should be ready. So let's get our pasta off the heat and drained. We don't want to overcook that pasta because you really want it to be absorbing the flavors. All right, let's test that pasta again before we put it in. Oh, that's perfect. All right, perfect. Already drained. Now we are going to put a little bit of the pasta water in here. But I want to be able to control that, because pasta water is one of those things, once it goes in, you can't get it out. So that can be a bit of a mess if you're not careful. Let's mix that in. Oh yeah, look at that. That's beautiful. Looks beautiful, is beautiful. Very nice. Let's put a bit of pasta water in there. Not too much. Let's try a spoonful. My goodness, this is gonna be good. Okay, next step. Next step actually is my daughter just made me a G&T with Levin's water. I'm gonna have that, a sip of that, just before we continue. Fitch and Leeds tonic and Levin's water, delicious. All right, so I now put these into these cast iron serving plates, which makes for A great cook, and B, great presentation. Now these I keep outside, so they're a little cool, so I like to just warm them up gently, so I don't want to put the warm pasta in the ice cold bowls. So let's get these filled up with our pasta. Now obviously we're going to have more pasta than the size we have, but that's okay. I got a couple of other ginormous containers. You really want to top these up, fill them up, and into the Yoder they will go. All right, we're in the home stretch. You've just seen how lovely our smoked bespoke mac and cheese is looking. Now the final piece de resistance, a little bit of bacon and breadcrumbs to go on top. So we're going to cut this bacon, not too much. There's already pancetta, of course, inside. So we're going to put just a bit, what's that, a quarter of a package. I'm going to cut this into small pieces. Lardons, I think, as the chefs would refer to it. All right, our bacon is ready, so let's get that out of here. Now into this, we're going to put some breadcrumbs. These are plain breadcrumbs. Brown up the breadcrumbs. Look at that, beautiful. Now, onto this it goes. Our topping just on top of each of these. Isn't that wonderful? All right, and there you have it. Bespoke smoked mac and cheese.